Once, in a quiet valley, there stood two trees, an oak tree and a willow tree. The oak was strong and mighty, with thick branches that stretched high into the sky. The willow, on the other hand, was slender and flexible, with drooping branches that swayed easily in the wind. The two trees were often admired by all who passed by, but the oak tree took pride in its strength, while the willow tree often wished it could be as tall and proud as the oak. One day, a fierce storm rolled into the valley. The winds howled and the rain poured down relentlessly. The oak tree stood firm, its thick roots anchored deep in the ground. It refused to bend, hoping that its strength would keep it safe from the storm. The willow tree, however, bent and swayed with the wind. It allowed the storm to pass over it, yielding to the pressure and adapting to the chaos around it. The storm raged for hours, but eventually it passed. When the storm cleared, the valley was still, and the trees were left standing. The oak tree, despite its strength, had been uprooted and fallen, its thick trunk snapped by the force of the wind. The willow tree, however, stood tall, having bent with the storm, its branches gently swaying in the breeze. As the willow tree stood in the calm after the storm, it reflected on what had happened. It realized that it wasn't its strength that had kept it standing, but its willingness to bend and trust in the natural flow of life, even in the hardest of times. It had humbled itself to the wind and allowed itself to adapt, rather than resisting it. The willow tree whispered to the wind, "I did not fight the storm. I let it shape me, and in doing so, I learned to stand firm in my own way." In the Bible, Jesus often speaks of how to endure hardships with faith, saying things like, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The willow's ability to bend rather than break reflects the idea of relying for strength when feeling weak. My friend, if you are struggling with depression, this story illustrates that it's okay to bend and be flexible when facing hard times. Rather than fighting against feelings of despair, allow yourself to feel them. Trust in God's presence and remain resilient.